magazine talk show. It's a beautiful Friday. I mean, happy new month. It's October already. Can you believe that?
It's so hot, my goodness. It's one of my favorite seasons of the year.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
I like the heat. I really do. It works for me. I don't know about my complexion, but I really love the heat.
Your complexion does. I mean, it's melanin popping season right now.
I love the heat, honestly. I really do. I am so excited. Today we've got a very special guest on the show.
Exactly.
We've got a lot to share, and I'm really excited because this is someone whom I can almost describe as someone who is a pro at what she does.
Exactly.
You know, and I hope you guys out there are also excited and looking forward to hear what she has to share with all of us.
And before she even comes on, this woman is multi-talented. I don't even know if that applies. She specializes in so many things. I was even thinking, I'm like, I have to go in the list when introducing her. So we have a guest who is specialized in leadership training, entrepreneurship, diplomacy. I mean, she goes as far as customer care. I didn't even know there was a training for that on how you handle customer service and all those things. She's also, you could call her a coach in other spheres because she does different trainings from, I mean, kids to big people to companies, and her CV is just so rich, and I can't wait for all of you to hear from her as we continue talking about entrepreneurship. I mean, we've been on quite a journey as we've been talking about entrepreneurship, and it's been a good journey. Exactly, very interesting. And as we go on, we tend to realize that there's so much that people do not know in terms of entrepreneurship, and so many things have to be taught. It's like you might think you know what entrepreneurship, oh, I'm a businessman, but then you realize there's so many things that we have to learn. And we're just so happy to be joined by Mwaka on the show today. Welcome to the show, Mwaka.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for making time.
Thanks a lot.
So tell us a little bit more when you started your center or your organization.
All right. Originally, the organization was registered in 2014, but I used to do food. Food, yes. I used to do food. I used to sell sandwiches at Intercity Market.
Oh, really?
Yes. And a lot of people would laugh, oh, we got this master's degree, you're selling at Intercity, but it's about loving what you do. It's about being humble. I think when you look at white collar jobs only, then it's very difficult to make it. You just have to be humble. Understand the people around you while you're learning how to start a business. Understand everyone from all walks of life. Then you're going to tackle everyone's needs when you start a business. And it gave me an opportunity to meet the marketeers, to create relationships with them and get to know what challenges they face out there, which was a great start for me. And this is where the idea, as much as I'm training the privileged children, I also go to orphanages and to community schools, because I got to understand the challenges their parents are facing in terms of financial capacity and exposure. Anyway, to go on, my name is Mwaka Bixdalewanika. I'm the CEO and founder of Tomorrow Solutions Limited, and the training and coaching aspect was birthed in 2019, which is about 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken with my mathematics. About 2 years ago. This is because when I was in the corporate world, there's always this complaining everywhere around you go, saying Zambian time, African time. They're complaining, no, that place when I go, I'm in the line for a very long time, customer service complaints. A lot of youth are engaging in illegal activities that are harming not only their future, but even their health as well. When you look at it, and you see a lot of people are complaining about lack of jobs, a lot of people are complaining about different kinds of things, what activities can they engage their children aside from their academic. And this is where it births from, with knowing that from the time I was young, I think from the time I was born, I've always loved babies, because I don't remember not loving children anyways. So I think I got it from the time I was in the womb. I've always loved children, so I needed to do something that I'm passionate about and to solve a problem that I saw out there.
The problem is what? The problems, actually.
The problems, yes. Lack of jobs, time management, teamwork. I was saying Zambians don't know how to work together, especially women. We always say women can't work together and everything like that. And this is something that we've adapted as a culture. It's become normal. It's abnormal, but we've made it normal. And this is why I tackle them from the age of 4. So that way they're going to develop and build a new culture, which will be the abnormal. What we call now normal, which is abnormal, will definitely be real normal now. Yes, exactly. So this is a culture. If they embrace it while they are young, we're going to see a difference. As much as we are trying to train the adults as well, it's very difficult. As I said, it's difficult to break bad habits. When you're old. As we are trying to break those habits, let not those habits be instilled in the young ones. Let them develop with new cultures. Let them develop with good time management. Because especially when it comes to time management, you lose 5 minutes. I'll give an example. All the time I wake up 5 minutes late, taking my daughter to school. I will be late in almost all the programs. I'll find the traffic is heavy. This affects everything. Time affects everything. And unfortunately, it can never be replaced. You might try by all means to hustle around, to try and stress yourself and work it out, but you're not going to give it because you're looking at time. You've wasted time, and the ability you are going to give it, if you are given it good time, is not the same as what you're going to put in when you're in a hurry and you're stressed, you're panicking. That's why time management is very important. Yes.
Sorry to take you back. So you insisted on why it's important to start them when they're 4. And I had a question for you to say, what sets someone apart who starts learning these things like time management or just developing them while they're young, and someone who learns it when 25? What would be the difference?
The difference, it becomes part of you. When you learn something when you're older, you have to constantly remind yourself, and every now and then you find yourself going back to the bad habit. So it becomes part of you. You don't even have to consciously remind yourself. It's just part of you. It becomes normal. You understand? It becomes normal, and it becomes a culture. The way we've created bad time management as a culture, the way we've created bad customer service as a culture, let them create the good side of it as a culture. It becomes part of you. It becomes normal. No one will look at you as weird. When you get to a place 10 minutes early, you're like, Mama Chele, you understand? You have to be on time. If your meeting, your interview, your party, your wedding, your funeral is at 2 p.m. Don't get there at 2 p.m. What time will you relax? You always need time to sit back, relax, get over the travel stress around. You never know what you find on the road. And if you start off, you tell yourself, okay, for me to get to the place that I need to get to, it will take me 20 minutes. Start off 25 minutes early. You never know what you're going to find on the road. And that same small hiccup that you're going to find will delay everything, and not only you and other people as well.
So starting them young helps to instill a cultural aspect of the good habits.
Exactly.
So when they're finally older, it won't be something they'll struggle with. It will be in them.
Yes.
Naturally. Okay. So I've understood you made mention to say you're into so many different tradings and everything. But looking at the corporate world and business itself, what are some of the benefits for, if somebody would decide to actually train with you, what are some of the benefits somebody would actually acquire?
Okay, what I've gotten to realize is most of us get into industry because we need a job. That's why people are complaining. I'm being overweight. You're always complaining because you're not there because you love what you're doing. You're there for the money. And starting them young, this kidpreneurship, the teenpreneurship, it's discovering the child's talent and passion. Get into something because you're passionate about it. What will happen if you get into an industry? What happens if that company, that organization doesn't make money? There's COVID. A lot of organizations stop making money, and they tell you, you know what, let's continue working, but for the next 3 months, we are not going to get paid, or we'll get half the salary. How many people will complain? Or how many people will say, I understand, and because I'm passionate about this, I'll continue doing it. And because if you're passionate about something, no matter the challenges that you face, you'll find a way of flying above the storm. That is our motto as Tomorrow, flying above the storm. We are eagles. We don't give up. We don't let the storm kick us back.
Wow. I like the ego part. We are eagles. We don't let any storm, take us back or storm us back. To talking about kid entrepreneurship, when trying to identify kids' interest or passion, how do you go about it? Do you go as back as going to consult the parents what they have seen in the kid, or maybe you take your time and observe the kids?
For starters, we ask the parents, what have you seen? What does the child love doing in their spare time? Do they like playing with dolls? What type of cartoon do they love watching? And that way you get to understand what they love. Then I believe most of us parents, I always include myself, most of us parents, we intend to force things on children. But keep them involved. Let them be part of the process, and they're going to own it better. After talking to the parents, I'll sit down, I'll have the first meeting with the child. I'll just ask them, what do you love doing? What do you love? Let them be part of it. Even as we are coming up with a time management plan for them, they are the ones who do it. Because they'll end up, I'm not going to tell a child, you get out of school at 12:30, 14 hours you need to study. What if that's not their best time? You understand? There are people who are morning people, others are afternoon people, others are evening. I work better at night. And if you're going to force me to study in the morning, I'm not going to get anything out of it. But ask me what time works best for me, and that's what we do with the children. That way they own it. If they don't own it, you tell them, you made this timetable yourself. You say this time works best for you. Therefore, you need to own it. No one forced you to do that. And they tend to appreciate it better, and they tend to own it and appreciate. And with these trainings, especially when you teach them about teamwork, we tell them in school you're a team. The whole class you're a team. If one person fails, it drops the class average, and that means you failed. You might get 100% as long as one person in your team gets 0 or 20%, the whole team has failed. And because even as we go to work, we intend to want to be seen. You want to be the best, you want to be the one being head, but you're hating, you're choking the team. You're choking the team, and this is what we want them to do, to share ideas, to help each other. You see your friend is lacking behind, you're good in mathematics, go up to them. Some people are shy to ask. Go up to them, I noticed you didn't do well in your mathematics. What is the challenge? And most of the times you find children understand better from their fellow students than they do from the teachers. And they play together. They have that free time in class media. They say, oh, this is the maths teacher who's coming and I've never passed. You tend to take a back seat instead of speaking up. But your friends who play with you at break time when you're more relaxed, they tend to understand you better. If you're failing in something, go to someone, spot someone who's good in that subject. I've seen a lot of people who get lost even in the street because they don't want to ask. Why should I get lost if I've got a mouth?
Very prideful people, you even wonder.
And where is that pride taking you by the end of it? It's not taking you anywhere. You understand? So we are teaching them no one knows everything. I tell them, even I don't know everything. There's a lot of things that I'm learning from you guys, and there's a lot of things you're learning from me. That way, I ask them questions, especially with this technology. I was born when there were landphones. I was born when there were typewriters in the offices. Therefore, I asked them, I'm having a challenge with this Zoom meeting. I don't know how to go live on Facebook. It was one of the kids who told me how to go live on Facebook or YouTube. That way, they tend to realize, for sure, she's not kidding. She doesn't know everything as well, because we learn everything. Learning is a process. It never ends. It never ends.
I think sometimes it's about the attitude you portray. People find it very hard to open up to certain people because of the way they carry themselves, the way they talk, like what you just mentioned, to say they want to make it known to say, I am here. You know, I know it. But for someone like me, let's say who's trying, working in, who's just stepped into some people the first time, and I'm looking at this attitude and like, is just not going to laugh at me and say I don't know anything.
Exactly.
So I feel this is a good program to actually indulge in and just learn the smallest techniques which will actually help you do this big decision making you actually endeavor in and all that. So I feel it's a good program to actually start with.
And I think the other good part about starting young is I saw something on your blog which said a quote about it's easier to train
It's easier to build a strong child than mend a broken heart.
Exactly. And we were doing mental health way back, and we were talking about how most of us in our 20s actually people are depressed.
there's a large number of depression, there's a lot of anxiety, there's all these things that are happening. And if people would learn, like you said, just asking and opening up as when you're young, it's easier to open up even as you meet challenges as you grow. So that's very true.
And we forget it's society that tends to build that culture. How many children do you know? A child will just talk.
Yes.
A child will just ask. This is the way we are born. We are born to just ask. We are born to be open. We are born to want to learn.
Yeah.
But culture, you find a child who's 8 years old goes to ask someone something, then they laugh. That trashes them.
Yes.
The next time they're not going to ask.
And also, don't you think interacting your kids as early as 4 years old, and also the importance of managing your personal time and also in a workspace. And now, we've got a lot of questions that we have from Mwaka.
Yes.
I hope she's ready. Tell me about leadership. What exactly are you trying to put out there when it comes to leadership? What is your core target when you're trading leadership?
Okay. Obviously, we look at leadership as managers, CEO, presidents, ministers. That's the only leadership we look at.
Yeah.
But have you ever throughout
You have to lead. And talking about leadership, I saw a program that you're running for people that are in universities. So then why is it important to actually get into mentoring or training people that are in college? And that is for There's TIC, right?
There's TIC, which is for the young ones, 4 to 12-year-olds. There's START, which is for teenagers, 13 to 19.